Hey everybody, here we are back making something in the kitchen on Clomp Clomp Chomp Chomp. I'm really excited to be here, and the thing that I wanted to talk about today is breakfast sandwiches. I feel like Chicago is such an amazing city for breakfast sandwiches and for breakfast in general, but you can find great sandwiches all around the city. Today I went to, or for today's episode, I went to Loaf Lounge for a sandwich, and I went to Spinning Jay. These are two places that I've been to a lot and that I really enjoy, but there are also really great sandwiches at Kasama for breakfast, or at Build Coffee in Hyde Park. It has really great sandwiches too, and I just went to a couple that were convenient to me to go to, but I would love to hear what your all favorite sandwich in Chicago is, favorite breakfast sandwich, because I want to try them all, and I think there are so many that are amazing. So, first of all, I just want to talk about the sandwiches. So first, at Loaf Lounge, Drew and I both went, so we were able to try two sandwiches, and we got the veggie egg and cheese sandwich, which is on a house-made muffin, English muffin. Had really great texture, was chewy but with crispy bits where it was toasted. We both really enjoyed that. It had kale and mushrooms and like a really zesty flavoring for the veggies, which we both really enjoyed as well. There was an herby mayo. The egg was fried and perfectly drippy. The cheese was American and it was really melty and nice. And yeah, overall the sandwich was really flavorful and balanced. The other sandwich we got there was the capricola, which has Munster cheese, capricola. It had another perfect drippy and runny egg. There was a peach mostarda on it, which was super delicious, and I think stopped the sandwich from feeling heavy overall, because it was like kind of a greasy sandwich and it was on a croissant. Having something like really bright in there helped things feel a lot more delicious, and like you could eat the whole thing, or half of it if you're splitting it. Yeah, and there was a lot of really nice crispiness and lots of flaky layers on the croissant, so we really, really liked that. But I have to say this time, our sandwiches at the Spinning Jay, I really enjoyed more. We got the Gravlax Bialy, which was awesome. They use a caramelized onion bialy there, and it was so tasty and good. It had cream cheese on it that was creamy and a little bit sweet and tart. The caramelized onions were really sweet and nice, and also added just a little bit of a bite. And then there were pickled red onions on the inside that had a little bit more of a bite and sweetness that we really enjoyed as well. The lettuce added a lot of crunchiness, and then there was a lot of salt there from like capers, which added saltiness and pickliness. And then the salmon was beet cured, and it was really soft and smoky and tasty. It was really delicious, maybe my favorite sandwich of the 4 that we had this weekend. Yeah, there was just such a beautiful balance of texture and flavor, and it was delicious. I'm already thinking about going and getting it again. And then the other one we got was the Spinning Jay breakfast sandwich, and we got it on a biscuit instead of the English muffin so that we could have a wider variety of breads. And they were out of their normal biscuit, so we got a blue cheese biscuit. I was a little bit worried that the blue cheese would like overpower things, but it just added the tiniest bit of funk. It was so delicious and tasty. Had nice crispy edges and buttery cheesy undertones. And then there was sausage that I also added. It was nice and breakfasty and savory, had a really nice texture. So overall, those were a bunch of really great sandwiches that we really enjoyed. And now I want to try and create my own breakfast sandwich, taking kind of bits of each of them. All right, so here we are getting started with the biscuits. So the biscuit recipe I chose is Regina's Butter Biscuits that's on the New York Times cooking website. I really enjoy this recipe. I've made it several times, and I'm sticking pretty close to it, except for that it calls for a mix of margarine and butter, and I'm just using butter because that's what I have on hand right now. And then it also called for buttermilk, and I forgot to get that at the store. So I soured some milk to use instead with a little bit of lemon juice. And so we should be in good shape to get this going. We still have that kind of like acid situation that you would usually get from buttermilk. And I find that it usually works just as well. All right, so first things first, we're going to add our flour. And this is 4 cups or 480 grams of flour. And it's just regular all-purpose flour for today. Also, I'm really excited because my mom mailed me my clear KitchenAid bowl, so you can actually see what's happening, which is exciting for me. Okay, now that we've put the flour, we're gonna put our baking soda. This is about 1/4 cup or 41 grams. And then our sugar, also 1/4 cup, but in this case 50 grams. This recipe is also like super easy, which is really nice for me as well. Okay, so for this, we're just going to make sure it's locked there and give it a quick mix for like 15 seconds or so, just to get everything kind of homogenized so that there aren't pockets. To get everything like homogenized so there aren't like pockets of flour or sugar or whatever. It's all kind of mixed together well. I'm just realizing that the recipe called for salted butter and I only had unsalted butter on hand. So I am just gonna add a little bit of salt in here. Probably about a teaspoon, half teaspoon to a teaspoon. I think that should balance things out pretty nicely and save us from what maybe would have been like a pretty bland biscuit. Give that another stir since I added the salt. Okay, we should be good to go. Okay, so our next step here is just to simply add the buttermilk and the butter. So here's my butter. I already cut it into cubes and then I was just keeping it in the fridge so that it would be nice and hard and keep some like flakes of butter when we mix it together instead of like melting into the mix. That's what we've got. So now adding our buttermilk, you can probably see here that it looks like a little bit thicker than usual milk, and that's because of the lemon juice I added. Okay, and now we're going to turn the mixer back on and just do about 10 seconds. We don't want to overmix this dough. We want nice big chunks of butter and margarine. So here we go. Whoa. Be careful, you might find yourself in a bit of a mess. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got this pretty well floured here, so I'm just gonna pour, or rather scrape, this dough onto my floured surface. Okay, so now that we have this poured out, I'm just gonna kind of get it into a 2-inch rectangle. I'm flouring my hands a little bit because it's quite sticky. But as we keep going, this should kind of collect more flour and be less sticky by the end. Okay, so now that we've got it into about a 2-inch tall rectangle, we are going to fold, actually we'll put it this way so that's easier. Fold the bottom up, fold the top onto that, give it a 1/4 turn, and then roll it out to about 2 inches again. Now that my hands no longer have a thick coating of dough, I can more easily work with it and actually touch things in my drawers without making everything a complete disaster. All right, we've got this folded. Let's roll it out again. Yeah, so I'll just keep doing that for a little bit. And then eventually we should have a really nice biscuit dough. All right, now that we have a dough that's looking a lot more homogeneous with kind of more longer ribbons of the butter, we can roll it out to cut the biscuits. And what we're looking for here is, rather than 2 inches, we kind of want 1.5 inches thickness. Cool. So now I'm going to cut them out. My cutter is a little smaller than I probably would want for this, but it's what I have at the moment, so that's what we're going to do. So we're just kind of gently re-rolling it together back to 1.5 inches thickness. And cutting out the rest. Okay, so it looks like I got 16 biscuits out of this, and I can now just transfer them onto a tray, and they're gonna go directly into the freezer. All right, so while those are in the freezer, I've got my oven preheating, and then I have kimchi and softened cream cheese almost in equal parts. And I'm just gonna cut the kimchi into kind of more manageable bite-sized bits. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put this in with my cream cheese. And now this just has to be combined, so I'm just gonna stir it. All right, that's ready to go. So those had a minute to get ready and a little bit frozen, so now I'm gonna put them into the oven. I'm gonna give them about 20 minutes in there. All right, so we're about wrapped up. We've got about 10 minutes, 8 or 10 minutes left for the biscuits to be done. So I'm going to take a minute and cook these sausages, and then I'll do the eggs, and then we'll assemble the sandwiches and we'll be done. So all the elements are ready now. I definitely didn't let the biscuits be in the freezer for long enough, so they fell over a bit. But they smell good enough that Puka is sad that he isn't eating one right now, so I think that's pretty good. So I am ready to assemble sandwiches. Just pop that open, and then I'm going to put a thin layer of my kimchi cream cheese. Then I'll pop an egg on there. I probably should have put the sausage on before, but here we are. Well, as you can see, that doesn't want to stay, so I'll do the next one a little more carefully. Get that lid on there. It does look pretty good though. And we have ourselves a couple of really beautiful looking sandwiches here. One for me, one for Drew. And for now, I guess I'll just have a bite. Oh. That turned out really well. The biscuit is so crispy, and the little bit of spice and like brightness that comes from the kimchi is really beautiful. Yeah, I'm really excited to dig into this. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for some more flopping and topping.